Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Kayla. If you do happen to be new here, I'm a mom of two. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And yes, we're a homeschool family. I never thought I would say that in a million years, but here we are. So this past year, I homeschooled Riley, my 4-year-old. We did like a PreK3 curriculum with her. So this coming year, we're gonna officially start PreK4 with her. And so today I wanna show you the Horizons PreK4 curriculum that we did buy. I'm still not 1000% sure, okay, that I'm gonna use this curriculum with Riley, but it is the same curriculum like brand company that I used for PreK3, which I really enjoyed. I really liked it. I had good things to say about it. There's just a few things that are different between the PreK3 and PreK4. So I'm gonna just like walk you through the differences and kind of show you what comes in here in case you guys are interested in it too. I'll have a link for it down below in the description box. Still kind of going back and forth between this and one other curriculum. I might do like a hybrid of them. I might like supplement. But Horizons, at least in my experience, I think it's a very good Christian homeschooling brand company. Given the fact that I have zero teaching background, I was never a teacher. I know that homeschooling, like for a lot of us, like I'm sure a lot of you out there too, or have never been teachers in your life, it was at first a little bit like scary to me. But I felt that going through the PreK3 curriculum, which this is PreK3, and then I'll show you the PreK4 one that I just got for her. But going through the PreK3 one was very simple, very user-friendly. It was easy for me to teach my child. It told me exactly what I had to do every single day, gave me ideas every single day of what to do. So if you're thinking about homeschooling, I want to remind you guys, like I always do, like you don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to be super creative. You don't have to come up with different ideas. Like that's what a curriculum is for. A curriculum is here to guide you and to really like lay it all out there for you to follow so that homeschooling is as simple and as easy and stress-free as it can be. By the way, you're gonna hear some background noise of all times. This is when Joe decided that he wants to vacuum the car seats. Very grateful that he's vacuuming the car seats. But the one time that I decided to sit down to film this video, that's what he's doing right now. So if you hear that noise, that is what is happening. So just bear with me. So I'll link a video where I walked you guys through the Horizons for 3 curriculum. I did a video where I showed you in action like how we use the Horizons for 3 curriculum. But basically what this one did is it had a little Bible reader. So like every lesson there was a little Bible reader with a story from the Bible, and then there was a student companion, which was like some of like the activities and stuff that you could grab from in there. Then there was a teacher's guide, which again walked you through every single lesson, exactly what to do, what you were working on, what pages to go to. It's all in there. And then there was one student workbook. So this is the workbook that Riley went through. It was really focused on like every lesson was a letter. Like lesson 31 was all on cue. And then there was a Bible story that went with that lesson. And then there were a couple worksheets, like they had to trace the letters. This was her little Jesus Loves Me drawing. And then there was activities and ideas. And I just thought it was a very, very simple curriculum. So that's why I picked up the PreK4 curriculum to see like how it would be different. Riley is, like I always tell you guys, Riley is 4.5. So her birthday's in December. So she's one of those kids that's like always gonna be the oldest in her class. So although she's gonna be 5 in December, we're still doing the PreK curriculum with her this year. We're also gonna supplement possibly with like some more science stuff and also be working on like reading and sight words and stuff like that, because I think she's at the point where she could probably handle that. I feel like this would probably be a good option in terms of a curriculum for her. So in the PreK4 curriculum, I'm gonna show you what the difference is and like what actually comes in here. So in this box, all of these materials are included. So the first thing, there's a CD, which I mean, how am I supposed to play this? I don't know how to play this, but there's a bunch of like Christian songs here. So I Know He Loves Me Too. I Have a Shadow, God Made You, God Made Me, My God Is So Big. So I like this. Even if I can't actually play the CD, maybe I can look up these songs on YouTube and I can find a version of it that, you know, is easier for me to play, because I mean, I don't have a CD listener or whatever it is that you use to listen to this stuff. But I like the idea that we can incorporate, you know, Jesus and Christianity into our homeschooling. That's one of the reasons why like I have enjoyed homeschooling, why I'm homeschooling in the first place, is because I want her to get that every day I want her to, you know, learn a biblical worldview. So I feel like Horizons does do that, at least in my experience. I will tell you, like I am technically, like I'm Catholic, but this isn't a Catholic curriculum. I believe this is just like a Christian curriculum. I'm totally fine with that. I don't find that there's anything that, you know, is like, oh my God, I can't be using this because I'm Catholic. And like, no, they're teaching about Jesus. They're teaching about good things here. And so I have been, you know, totally fine with that. But anyway, let's just go through what comes in here. The biggest difference I see is that instead of one teacher's guide for pre-K3, for pre-K4, there are two teacher's guides. So both of these are teacher's guides. I'm gonna kind of like take you guys off of just sitting there on the table so I can like flip through this teacher's guide with you guys and show you what I'm looking at. But something right off the bat that I can appreciate, you guys, is that there's like a little schedule in here. There's like a little makeshift schedule. So a half-day schedule looks like it's from 9 to 12. An all-day schedule can be like stretched out from 9 to 2. So this might be something that I look at to kind of like, you know, figure out how I'm going to structure my day. That might be helpful. And then over here, you've got a breakdown of like, I guess what like the scope of the curriculum is. So like between lessons 1 and 30, these are all the things that they're going to be learning. So that gives you like an idea of like, at a glance, like what your student is going to be learning throughout the whole year. One thing that is different, that is pretty noticeable, is that with the Horizons for 3 curriculum, there were 40 lessons, I believe. Yeah, there were 40 lessons. So with Riley, I did like 1 lesson a week. Like I was able to spread it out a little bit more when we did that pre-K for 3 curriculum. With this one, there are actually 180 lessons. So a lot more lessons, which means that every day, basically, we should be covering an entire lesson. And again, there's flexibility because you're still doing this at home. You can use your weekends, you know, to do schoolwork if you need to, if you miss a day during the week. I'm gonna try to stick to a Monday through Friday schedule. But again, knowing my lifestyle, like that's one of the reasons why I do homeschool, because some days look different. Some days Joe's traveling for work and I'm accompanying him, and there's just different things that we do. But my biggest takeaway so far is the fact that there are definitely more lessons. Over here, we have like the lyrics to a bunch of the songs that I guess the kids are gonna learn throughout the year. There's lyrics to the CD. So to all those songs, you've got the lyrics. And then I'm just gonna show you what an example of the lesson would be. So this says lesson 1, week 1, day 1. So activities in this lesson, it's gonna walk you through what they are. The Bible reference for that lesson is Genesis 1:1. So that's the Bible verse that you want to maybe work on, read to your students, and then it gives you a little concept to present to your students. So God is our Father who always was, is now, and always will be. So that kind of tells you exactly what you're teaching your kid there. And then it continues over here with the Bible lesson. It tells you, again, things that you can say to your student, walks you through all of that. Did you know that God never goes on vacation? He never goes to sleep. So I like that it's all done for you there. So then here it says, prepare ahead, make copies of lesson 1 resource page. So there is a little resource packet. So maybe there's something here that we would make copies of so that they can work on, but all of this stuff is already printed out for you. So that's kind of nice. It's not like you have to go and find these materials and print them out. So whenever they're talking about something from the resource packet here in the teacher's guide, like it's usually like already there done for you. So then we've got something on social studies, and we've got something on language arts. Gives you an idea of something that you can watch. In language arts, it says like use old magazines and catalogs to cut out pictures to represent dad. There's a song here, 3 Little Ducks. Then there's phonics, which is teaching the letter A. But as a teacher, it's got all this information here in the teacher's guide to walk you through all of these different sections. And it gives you ideas of things that you can do with them. I will tell you, when I did the pre-K for 3 curriculum with Riley, I didn't always do every single thing here. So it kind of depends on your student, what you think they need to be working on. Over here, we have some more songs. Daddy, We Love You, the ABC song, arts and crafts, physical education, and then there's an additional Bible lesson. So obviously I haven't started doing this with writing, but that's kind of the thing with a curriculum, is like you kind of have to start doing it in order to like see if your child is going to do well with it. Just looking at the teacher's guide, my first thoughts on this, it's very comprehensive. Like it seems like they touch on like different topics, which I think is good. If I get to something where like Riley already knows it, am I going to necessarily spend time working on that? I probably won't, but that's up to you as their teacher. So like here underneath writing, it says, for the first 2 weeks, focus on having the students recognize their own first name. During this time, write the students' names on all worksheets and papers. Riley can already write her name. So we've kind of like mastered that. So that's something that I would see here, and I'd just be like, okay, I'm gonna continue to have her practice writing her name like she already does. But I think that this is super good. It says introduce the colors red, green, and blue. Riley knows her colors, but this is stuff that I can maybe work on anyway, because Jackson is here and Jackson's 2.5, and maybe by seeing some of this, he'll also start picking up on it. So we're not doing any formal homeschooling with Jackson, but I think he's gonna benefit because he's gonna see us doing schoolwork like Riley and I feel like there's definitely moments where I can use that time to teach him as well. And I think that that's gonna be good for both of them, honestly. But I just wanted to give you guys a feel for what you can find in the teacher's guide. In case you were like me, like a year ago, I never knew what a teacher's guide was. I was like, are they just gonna give you ideas, or are they gonna give you a script? Are they gonna, you know, give you ideas and you have to like figure stuff out on your own? At least with this curriculum, it's very straightforward. So I like that personally. And it does seem like there's quite a bit. Like I'm a little intimidated. Like I'm not, let's be real. Like there were several pages for a lesson on the teacher's guide, but I think that this would be good for us. So I'm gonna move on to the like actual student workbook. So there's 2 of them because of the fact that, remember, there's like 180 lessons. So it's just more material. And I'm hoping that this is stuff that Riley will enjoy as we go through the curriculum. If I see that she's bored or that she's, you know, more advanced, then we'll work on ways to still keep her, you know, interested in learning, and to get creative and expand on this stuff, or add, like I said, more of like the science and the nature stuff that I know that she likes. But this is what you can expect in the student book. Over here, this is lesson 1. So it looks like there's honestly like not even that many pages per lesson of like actual stuff that they're gonna be doing. Remember, the lesson, like it seemed like there was a lot more because the teacher's guide like had other things that you could work on. But like in terms of phonics and math, like there's literally like, this is all we would be doing for 1 day's worth of work, like just a page front and back. So lesson 1 phonics, there's a place for her to write her name, or you can write it for them like the teacher's guide was saying if your student yet, you know, doesn't already know how to do that. Trace the letters A, identifying stuff that starts with the letter A. We've got Noah's Ark, which is really good. And then on the back is math, which is identifying the pictures and counting the numbers in each group, which ones are the same. That would be it in terms of like bookwork for that lesson, for that day. And then the next day looks like there's maybe a little bit more. So all of this is lesson 2, but really like not even that much stuff. So they're working on letters still, numbers. This is lesson 3, so like the 3rd day of school. This page here, and this page here, and this one too, right? Oh look, so on the 3rd day, it looks like there's a little bit more, but a lot of it is like arts and crafts. So I guess it just depends on the day. This is all good, teaching them how to write. So lesson 4, this is shapes. And then as the year, you know, goes on, they start working on some more advanced concepts. But I think a lot of this Riley knows, but we'll have to see, you know, how much of a refresher she needs. And like I keep saying, like I'll, as her teacher, have to figure out what she necessarily needs. But I want to look at book 2, like the second half of the year, and see like where she would be at. So this is good, like some counting. So lesson 105B, lesson 106A, we're looking at numbers, a little bit of like basic, you know, addition, some more shapes. So all of this is good. Tracing, because remember, this isn't even kindergarten yet. This is just a preschool curriculum. I think she got a lot of this in PreK3. This is just a little bit of extra practice. She can really work on like her tracing and her correctly writing the numbers and all of that. So I think that this is going to be good. See, this is a concept that she hasn't done yet. I think she'll be able to get it, but she hasn't really done that, like with the dice and stuff. But again, looking at like day 113. So the lesson is up here, phonics. So on day 113, she would do that, this page, this, and that would be it. So really, again, even that is not a lot of book work. So it's not a lot of her like sitting down and having to do just pages of work. I think that that's one of the biggest things like with homeschool and like Riley. Again, every kid is different, every student is different, but she doesn't love to spend like, you know, a ton of time sitting down and doing like schoolwork. Some days are better than others. Some days she literally begs me, can we do schoolwork? Can we do schoolwork? And then other days she's like, not another page, or like, one more page, mama, that's it. So like, if you've been in that boat, like the same. I can appreciate that even if it's a day where, I don't know, there's like 4 whole pages of schoolwork, we can even break that up. Like if I see that she's just over it after a small amount of time, we can do some of it before lunch, some of it after lunch, some of it right before dinner. If you guys have never seen some of like the homeschool with us videos that I've done here on my channel, I highly recommend that you check them out. I'll try to leave them down below in a playlist, and subscribe, because I hope to do more of those videos throughout the year, just showing you the things that we're doing, the things that we're learning, how I'm homeschooling both of them and keeping them entertained. And my goal being to show you that homeschooling is not as scary as you might think. So just looking through the curriculum, I think it's good. I think that for a preschool curriculum, I think that she's gonna, you know, it's gonna cover some basic concepts, shapes, letters, basic math that I think is gonna be good. The curriculum itself, like the book itself, is not ugly to look at. I was kind of like, oh, is it gonna be like ugly? Because like the aesthetics, I think to a certain degree matter. Like you don't want to open up a curriculum that you're like, oh, this looks terrible and ugly. And it's kind of like the same concept with like, you know, like when you're trying to like get excited to go work out, go to the gym, like sometimes you buy like some new workout clothes to motivate you. So if it's like an ugly to look at curriculum, for me as even the teacher, like I'm not even gonna want to really open it up and look at it. But I think that this is engaging enough, and like it's, you know, in color, and I think that it's good. So there's that. And then the other thing that I didn't show you, the last thing that I haven't really fully shown you, is the resource packet. So in looking at the teacher's guide, just, you know, this time that I looked at it, throughout the lesson, there are times where it refers to things in the resource packet. And so in the resource packet, it looks like there's stuff like this. I did, by the way, get a laminator or laminating machine, laminator, whatever. So maybe I'll be doing some of that so that we can laminate and reuse some things, use, you know, dry erase markers instead of like having her write on stuff, so that it lasts longer and we can do more practice with it. We can save stuff, you know, for Jackson, all of that. But this is what that resource, you know, packet looks like. We've got all the different letters. So like if we're working on letter A, like for Jackson, honestly, it would be really good. Riley knows her letters, but for Jackson, if that lesson, you know, if that week we're working on the letter A, maybe I can put this, you know, up on the wall somewhere. I can put it on the fridge with a little magnet, or I can tape it on my wall and just have it somewhere where we can refer to it. It looks like it's got that for all of the letters. And then there's also pages that look like this, where you've got numbers and then that many number of animals. I've also got shapes, so this says count the stars. So these are all things that I can pull from this packet, and they're all numbered, which I can appreciate, because God forbid, you know, these all fall on the floor or my children mix them up, which is very likely to happen at some point. Then I'm sure that it'll refer to like, oh, page 93 in the resource packet, and it won't be so difficult to find. It's more on colors. And by the way, there's flies in my house, not because I live in like an infested house of flies, but the kids leave like the sliding glass door open all the time, and then we have like, you know, flies all around my house. So I'm not like dirty, okay? Like my house is messy, cluttered, fine, but my house is not dirty. So I'm just throwing that out there. That's why there are flies. We live in Virginia, by the way, if you're new here, and I don't know, like flies for some reason love our house. Anyway, these are all things that, you know, I can use. And what I like is that obviously you're paying for a curriculum. Like I had to pay for this, but everything is done for you. So now like I don't have to spend every weekend like going online, printing stuff out, wasting ink from my printer. I'll probably do that as I go supplementing with things. But like for the core curriculum, I think it's worth it to invest in something that you physically have. That way you're not like scrambling last minute for the materials. This is really good over here. This is something that I'm glad she'll be learning, because she's not there yet in learning her time and stuff. So I had gotten her like a clock toy from Learning Resources to incorporate into homeschooling this year. But this is really good too. So this is just practice, like what time is it? So I think that that will be good for her. Also really cute. So learning about the season. So like what season is this? This is spring. And again, these are things that if we're working on the season, I can just put these all up next to each other somewhere, whatever wall it is that I'm gonna dedicate to homeschool stuff. somewhere in my house I can kind of display these, even if it's just like for that week. Looks like these are months of the year, so that is good. This is super cute too. There's like months, so maybe like whenever it's that month I can display these also. And I mean, you can find a bunch of like calendars and, you know, all of these things that all these posters and stuff that they sell on Amazon if you want them like out and about all the time. But this is something that is here in the curriculum, so I think that's nice. And then this is super cute, and this is something that I am gonna try to go out of my way to laminate. So these are Bible verse memory cards, and I don't know, memory verse cards right there. So each one of these little squares has a memory verse for whatever, if it's that lesson or that week. And even for myself, this is something that I think would be helpful for myself. I really would like to get into the practice of learning more like Bible verses by memory. I read the Bible, Joe and I are doing Bible in a year and all of that. The actual like memorizing of verses and reciting them regularly, that's something that I never grew up with, but that I want my children to grow up with. And I think it's such a powerful tool to like have these like in the back of your head that you can just, you know, recall. And so even though Riley is 4, she's not gonna remember every single one and she's not gonna remember them perfectly, but I'm still gonna try to instill in her some of these Bible verses. I think that that would be super helpful. And I think she might actually pick up on more than I give her credit for. Like she watches right now, she's watching like this show on TV called Allegories. And it's on Minnow, by the way. Like, I don't know if you guys have Minnow, but it's like that Christian Netflix or whatever. And it's called Allegories. And throughout the show, they'll like add Bible verses and stuff. And remember that in John this, you know, Jesus said this. And it's just the cutest thing because she does retain some of that stuff. So I think that that'll be good for her. What else do we got in here? I'm just trying to see at a glance what she's gonna be learning. So we've got just some basic counting and pennies. And then this is, I guess, some science. What I didn't see a lot of is science, but that's kind of typical. It's kind of typical of like the earlier years. So this is like a page on colors, counting shapes, and that's kind of why I want to supplement with something more about nature and science and all of that. It seems like later on throughout the year, you know, they get into like a little bit more complex stuff when it comes to nature and science. There's something about flowers. So that's what I like to see because that's the kind of stuff that I know Riley likes. This looks like it's about safety, so that's good. Like stop, drop, and roll in case you get, you know, like fire on you and all of that. About the moon, so like the different phases of the moon. Yeah, here we've got the solar system. So now we've got like the frogs, we've got the fish. So I kind of just want to like fast forward throughout the year because this is like the stuff that I know that she's gonna like. I hope I'm getting that right. I hope like I'm not, I don't know, maybe for all I know, like in lesson 3, they're like, look at, you know, resource 105. Very much could be that. So it seems like all the science stuff is like at the end of the resource packet though. So it's good to me. Like I feel very happy seeing that there is science stuff. So just showing you like stuff about muscles and the skeleton. That's stuff that I definitely wanted to be included in her curriculum. So at some point in the year, this stuff is gonna be covered, which I very much like. Now, when exactly in that year it's gonna happen, I am not exactly sure. But for sure, what I do like is that every day there is a Bible lesson. I was a little bit like hesitant about that at first because when I opened up the Horizons Preschool box, like for the Horizons Preschool for 4, like the curriculum, when I opened up the box, I didn't see that there was like a dedicated Bible reader like there was in the PreK3 curriculum. But I feel like that's fine. Like it'll tell me the reference. So like I'm on lesson 34 here. And it says Genesis 1 verses 9 through 10. So I can open it up, I can read it to them. And then I can use the Bible lesson here to give like a basic understanding of that. Or if it's a particular verse that I know of another resource that I can use to teach her something about it, then I can, you know, open up my computer or open up my phone and like, you know, teach her something about that verse as I see fit. But that was important to me, that was gonna be at the center of the learning. Overall, I feel like it's something very similar to the PreK3 curriculum that I'm already used to. So it's not gonna be like learning a completely different, you know, curriculum or something totally different. Still gonna do the same thing that I did with PreK3. I mentioned already, if I see something that I'm like, oh, that's a no for me, or she doesn't need to do that, or like I was reading something here, like for PE, like create an obstacle course outside, like Sometimes it's like, no, like I'm not gonna do that. I'll take her outside, we'll go for a walk, we'll go to the park. That just seems like too much effort, or like that's just not gonna be my thing today. And that's okay. Like just because it's here in the teacher's guide does not mean that you have to do every single thing. And so that's the kind of pressure that I don't want anyone to feel like they have to do. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to making sure that they grasp those basic concepts that they're gonna need for kindergarten. So like understanding their colors, understanding their numbers, understanding their letters, like all that basic stuff that they're gonna be doing. Oh my goodness, this fly is driving me insane. All of this stuff that's in their workbook, like covering those topics, I think that's important. But like if there's a song that you didn't sing that day, it doesn't mean that you failed in your homeschooling journey. Like it doesn't mean that that's it. Like if their homeschool, you know, journey is completely messed up, you ruin them forever, they're gonna be terrible human beings at this point because you didn't sing like Humpty Dumpty, because you didn't do the craft for that day. Like this is a guideline. This is to help you so that you don't have to invent things, that you don't have to go crazy figuring out what you're going to teach your student. But it's pre-K and they're kids. Like they're 4, they're 5, like they don't need to be sitting down at a table for 8 hours a day learning. Like let them also be kids. So that is, in a nutshell, an overview of this curriculum. I think it's very good. I feel like it would be a great curriculum to work with. If I end up choosing this one, then we'll see as we go through it. I will be sure to share my thoughts and, you know, what I supplement with or whatnot. But I also want you guys to understand that just because I showed this to you, like if for any reason I don't use this curriculum, this is still a perfectly good curriculum to use. And I don't think that you should be basing your specific curriculum that you use for your child based off of like, oh, what this person that I follow is using. Because their child is not your child. What's important is that you like the curriculum, that it works for your lifestyle, and that it works for your child, your student. You can still partake in the homeschool journey with someone who's using a different curriculum than you. I don't know, like people are like very touchy about their curriculum. God forbid you say something that's even a little bit negative about the curriculum that they use and they go crazy. Like this is just a tool. This is just a tool to help your student and to help you as a homeschool mama. Like that's literally all it is. The whole concept is that you are teaching your child, you are teaching your student, and you're not leaving it, you know, to anybody else to do that. These are your children for you to teach as you see fit. Just want you guys to remember that. I could talk about this all day because I feel like people are always just getting very upset about literally everything in life. That's it, you guys. I hope that at least that gave you a little bit of a better understanding of what you can expect if you go with the Horizons preschool curriculum. If you click on the link below, I'm pretty sure that like when you get taken to the product page, you'll be able to see like more of the scope. Like here on the back of the box, it literally tells you like exactly the scope and sequence of the curriculum. So if you want to know fully like what they're going to learn from lessons 61 through 90, it tells you they're working on all of these different things, lessons 91 to 120, all of these things, blended letter sounds, write your first name, addition, identifying different shapes. Like it walks you through all of that in case you're concerned about what they're gonna be learning. If you have any questions about anything, let me know and I will do my very best to answer them. If it means that I have to open up my teacher's guide again and look through it, I will be happy to do that. But I hope that at least that gives you a little bit of, you know, more idea of what comes in a curriculum, what comes in this one. And then just stay tuned because I have one other curriculum that I'm going to share with you guys hopefully very soon so you can kind of make your decision on what you're going to use, if you want to use this one or you want to use the other one, or if you want to use something completely different. But from one homeschool mama to another, I think you rock. I think you're doing a great job by even considering this. And I'm here to partake in whatever frustrations or whatever anything comes from homeschooling, the good, the bad. You have another friend in the homeschool life here. So I love your faces. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.